Hi, hello, I'm Sam Harrison. I read, review and discuss fantasy and science fiction books, and today I want to talk to you guys about the future of the channel. So I had been planning for several months to change up the schedule for the channel. I thought for a long time about what I wanted to do. I looked at tons of other channels. I really thought about what I admire most in terms of other channels, looking at my favourite channels, which ones I watch the most. And I came down to a few things. I had three options in my head. So one option was to just take a break. So I was originally one of my first thoughts was to take January 2025 off. And I kind of ended up doing a bit of that because I was really sick with the flu. So I didn't shoot any videos, I didn't read any books for over 2 weeks over the Christmas to New Year period. And I only really started feeling back to normal on like the 5th of January. And I then decided to take from the 5th to the 10th off. And then you'll have seen that regular posting of videos started again last Friday on the 10th. For continuity reasons, just to let you know, I am recording this during the same lunch hour. So I've recorded my weekly update and my Suppression of Powers review, and now we're on to 2025. So I dismissed taking a break. I decided that I was not going to take a break. I love the community that I've built, and I honestly felt like the break when I had the flu was enough. I felt really kind of rested, revitalized, recharged on the channel, and I'm really happy to be back and shooting videos again. I genuinely didn't realize how much enjoyment and how much creative fulfillment I got from these videos, because I have a pretty creative job. I work in marketing. I do a lot of design, I do a lot of copywriting, and so in my head, you know, I'm like, oh well, my creative outlet is work, kind of, and I do like my job. I like what I work on, but I didn't realise how much I enjoyed talking about the things that I love to you guys. And my wife is sick of me reading her quotes from books and being like, wasn't that funny? Because she's always like, no, it wasn't funny. So I decided not to take a break. My second option was that I was going to go down to one video a week. So I had thought, if we do one video a week, that's like the Friday show. So on Fridays, I do a video that I kind of internally refer to as the Friday show, but is my weekly recap. And the weekly recap, right, was mostly what I've been reading, what I'm reading next, and then like channel updates and what I'm watching and playing games and things like that. So what I ended up doing was, I thought, well, what if I expanded that video? I made it like an hour long, and it was, it also contained reviews. It also contained, I was like, I can just set aside one evening a week and then film like an hour long video. That is all of my videos for the week combined into one. And then I would also maybe get guests on. I would start talking about news in the same way that you see from people like Daniel Green with his fantasy news, Bryce from Shelf Centered, Petrick with his SFF spotlight. So I had this idea, right, that I would just like do all the things that I love doing on the channel as a single video and put out one video a week. And I would also turn that into a podcast. So that was my kind of like second idea. But then in the end, I decided that I wanted to keep making videos for you guys on the channel in a kind of a similar way. So what I'm going to be doing though is I'm going to be making less videos. So the schedule from here on out is going to be Mondays, there'll be a book review. So in an ideal world, I read a book a week. I am going to, across January and February, try and get ahead. So I'm going to try and read some books that I know I am going to love, that I'm going to read really quickly. I've picked out Brandon Sanderson's Reckoners superhero series for this. So that would give me, ideally, that'll give me a big buffer. So then when a book comes along like Return to Adan, and I know that that's going to take me, I mean, that took me like 2 or 3 weeks to read, 2 and a bit weeks. And if I get a book like that, that means I'm not stressing about not being able to get a review out for you guys on Monday. The caveat that I have as well is that I will skip that Monday review if I don't have anything to review. So I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to be like, I'm going to read a novella tonight so that I've got something to review for you tomorrow. The schedule is going to be a lot more malleable. So last year, my schedule for the whole of 2024 was Monday through Friday there were videos. Now, what's going to be is Mondays there'll be a review. Fridays, there will be a Friday show. The Friday show will be basically the same format. So what I've been reading, what I'm going to read next, what videos I've made, what videos I'm making next, any other stuff we want to chat about. So that's not going away. The Friday show is my favourite video to make for the channel. And I also really love doing the reviews. So, and I think that reviews are important because a lot of booktubers don't actually review the books that they talk about. They like talk about them in a monthly wrap up or something, and like that's fine. But if I read a book and then want to look up a review of it, it's a struggle. Like you often go like, well, I can't actually watch the review because I have to kind of skim through a 30-minute video to find 3 minutes of discussion. I'm not going to do that. So standalone reviews is something that I want to keep doing. I'm going to keep doing as long as I can. What's going to happen Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday? So in an ideal world, I will be putting out a video on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So that'll be 3 videos a week instead of 5. However, the Wednesday video is very much like subject to I have something fun to talk about. I'm not going to make a video just to make a video. I did a lot of that last year just to fill a hole in the schedule, and I don't know whether that was of a benefit to you guys as viewers, because sometimes I was making videos just to make them. I wasn't making videos because I was passionate about it. So from here on out, videos will be Mondays, at least Wednesdays, Fridays. Again, the Monday and the Wednesday video will both be dropped if there isn't anything to talk about. So if there's no book ready to be reviewed, I won't review a book on Mondays. If there is no off-topic kind of like, you know, other video, there will be no videos on Wednesdays. So I hope that that all kind of makes sense. And I really like the idea of this new schedule. To give you an example of things that could go in the Wednesday video, we could have top 10 lists re-ranked, which I've done a few of now. We could have spoiler discussions for books. We could have top 10 lists. We could have monthly recaps. All this sort of stuff. I would like to do more series in review, like why you should read videos. I could do one for the Adan trilogy now that I've finished it. And yeah, there's a lot going on in my head in terms of video ideas. I did actually have planned a couple of really big videos. Like I was looking to try and do some quite comprehensive series discussion videos. But I've popped those ideas on the back burner simply because I've popped them on the back burner simply because I don't think I've got the time. I really wanted to reread a series in time to make a big series overview video, but it's just not happened, unfortunately. And And yeah, I think that the days of me going, I'm going to make some big ambitious videos are actually kind of behind me, and I want to make more videos that are what you guys have kind of tuned into the most, what you guys have enjoyed the most, which is like book discussions and, you know, off the cuff Friday show style stuff. And I want to talk about, you know, not just what I'm reading, but why I chose to read it. Yeah, so I'm hoping that kind of makes sense. So there will be 2 less videos a week. So we're looking at like, you know, 8 less videos a month. Insane. The one thing that I will say though is if I have loads of videos filmed, I'm not going to store them up. I'll be releasing them on different extra days. So Andre and I are still doing our Stormlight Wind and Truth spoiler discussions. I'm hoping to restart the filming of those next week. And because I have a lot of stuff in the pipeline, ideas-wise, for Wednesday videos, those will probably go out extra. So what we're looking at the moment is, at the very minimum, there'll be a video every Friday. And ideally, there'll also be a review every Monday. And then it's kind of like fluid from there, really. So videos will go up when they're ready. They'll go up when they're timely and worthwhile to go up. So yeah, long story short, the channel is going to be a lot more fluid this year. It's going to be ideally more sustainable for me in terms of being able to read more. That is a big thing that I want to do this year. I did read enough books last year to have done one review a week. I think I read 53 or 54 books last year, and the goal for this year is to read 52 books. So hopefully I can do that. I am going to be trying to force myself to do a few things, which we'll talk about in a minute in goals. I don't want to recap last year's goals because I'm 100% certain that I did not hit most of them. I know I wanted to read 60 books. That was my goal, and I didn't hit that. But I did put out like 200 videos, so I feel good about that. Yeah, probably more than 200 videos. So yeah, it's been a really, really interesting year for me last year. I love having this channel. I love having this outlet to talk to you guys about books. And while I know I am not the best at replying to comments, I do read every single one. I read every one. Sometimes I wish I didn't read them, like people who are like, this book was terrible and you're a terrible reviewer. But those are quite few and far between. I feel like I get like one bad comment a month, and most of them are like, this book sucks and it's woke or whatever. And I'm like, you're on the wrong channel, bud. Like, if there's like, I'm not going to say I'm the wokest booktuber, but like, my political views are extremely far left. But there you have it. Anyway, so this has been this is like a real weird, long, chatty video. But I think we should probably also talk about 2025 goals. So the big thing that I am doing this year is trying not to buy books. So I have on my Kindle, I've not counted, but I have over 300 books on my Kindle. And I probably have read around 100 in my Kindle library. But that still leaves over 200 books that I've bought. And most of these books I have bought on the Kindle 99p daily deals. I was getting that newsletter every day. And last year, I feel like every month I was probably spending £10 to £20 on 99p Kindle books. So you can see where that 300 plus, it might even be 300 unread actually, not 300 total. You can see where that 300 plus books, where those books have come from. I also bought all of the Tad Williams books and all of the Discworld books when they were on Humble Bundle. And no, not Tad Williams books, sorry, the Shannara books. I bought all of the Shannara books from Humble Bundle. I bought all of the Discworld books from Humble Bundle. So that was like 70 books in total already. I also am a subscriber to the Broken Binding. I get their sci-fi and their fantasy series sub, and they're launching a new sub this year, which is going to be new release books, and that's going to be like new release sci-fi and fantasy special editions, and I have expressed interest and will likely be subscribing to that. And I know what you're thinking, Sam. You said you're going to stop buying books. I've made a exception, which is that I am allowed to buy special editions. That might sound weird because you're like, Sam, those special editions are like £30, and regular books are like 99p to, £15. But here's the thing. I don't want to have a massive book collection, but what I want is for the books that I keep in my permanent collection to be all nice editions. So I'm not going to buy any. I don't really want to buy any standard edition books. Like, I'm currently reading The Blade Itself by Joe Abercrombie, and like really enjoying this and wishing that I had a special edition of it, but they're like thousands of pounds. And this paperback edition will be donated to the library when I'm finished. I don't want to keep paperbacks. I don't want to keep non-special edition hardbacks. There are a few cases where I do still keep those books. So I own a few books that are not available in ebook. So for those books, I have the physical editions, and I won't get rid of those because maybe one day I'll want to reread them, or maybe my son will want to read them, or daughter. It's funny because Peter can actually read, whereas Alice is obviously like 7 months old, so it's very different audiences. But yeah, genuinely, maybe Peter will want to read some of my fantasy and sci-fi books when he gets older, and that would be lovely. So there's a few books that I want to keep to possibly share with kids. And I do actually have a matching set of Wheel of Time paperbacks, which I am keeping because I love the way they look on the shelf, and I love the Wheel of Time, and I genuinely do think I will reread Wheel of Time. The big thing with my book collection is that I am a minimalist. I don't even really collect stuff. I used to have lots of different little collections. I had like Amiibo collections and a Blu-ray collection and Marvel collections and comic book collections. And then I moved house like 3 times with my comic book collection, which was 10,000 comics. And the 3rd time was the final straw, and I decided that there was no point in collecting 90% of those 10,000 comics. So I think now I only have a few hundred, and they're all my favourite stories of all time that I genuinely cannot wait to share with my kids when they're old and can respect the physical copies that I own. So yeah, I'm a minimalist when it comes to media, and my idea is I'm really only keeping books if I'm going to possibly reread them, or they're really, really nice editions that I would like to display as kind of a show of like appreciation is the wrong term, like display them as like I love these books are amazing, and I want to like, I don't know, display, it might be the right term, just display them and be like, I love these books, these are the books that I love. Like I have got the Greenbone Saga from Broken Binding. And while I don't love some aspects of those editions, I really love that series. I love how they look on the shelf. I like the spines are all really nice lined out. So I decided to keep those. I've got Christopher Buehlman's Black Tongue Thief and Daughter's War, both in matching Broken Binding hardbacks, and again those are lovely as well. And the Tad Williams hardbacks, they're my favourite books I've got. I think there's those Tad Williams Broken Binding books. So yeah, that's kind of how the book buying ban is working. So here are the very, very loose rules. Book buying ban. I am allowed to buy Broken Binding books because it took me 8 months to get on the subscription, and I'm not going to drop off it. I have skipped the first sub of 2025 though, so, and I might skip the first sci-fi sub as well, so that will reduce that spend. It's not really about money in terms of book buying ban. The book buying ban really is more about space and trying to build the collection that I see in my head, which is like, as I said, you know, only 2 or 3 shelves, but all of those of books that I really care about that are nice editions. So that's the plan. So the rules are, I'm allowed to buy Broken Binding books. The second rule is no purchasing of new books at all. So I'm not allowed to buy books from, no books on Kindle, even if they're 99p. I'm not allowed to buy any physical books. I do have one caveat though for the I'm not allowed to buy blah blah blah. There are a few books that I am allowed to buy. So I'm allowed to buy the new Ryan Cahill book, which is of Empires and Dust. That's coming out in February or March. So I'm allowed to buy that one because I am a huge fan of that series, and it won't come to the library, so I will have to buy that. Most reading this year will be done via library copies, if it's ebooks. I am also keeping up my Audible subscription because and keeping up the Audible subscription. I will be trying to go to the library as much as I can for audiobooks, but my specific library is actually quite poor for audiobooks and ebooks, so they're not terrible at physical books, and my auntie actually works for the local library system, so I can be like, hey, can you suggest to the buyers that they buy, you know, The Blade itself, for example, if they didn't have a copy. I mean, I'm going to donate my copy, but if they didn't have a copy, I'd be like, can you buy these Joe Abercrombie books? And she would hopefully see that they do that. Yeah, so physical books from my library system are actually pretty easy to get, and they're good at buying stuff in. And whenever I put in a request to buy books, they have bought them. So they bought the entire Murderbot series. They actually bought Ryan Cahill's books, though I don't imagine they will be buying the next book as it comes out. So I will be buying that. I'll be buying it physical and ebook. Don't know about the audio because I didn't like the audio when I tried it for A War and Ruin, but we'll see. So yeah, that is one big exception, is that I will be buying that. I'm also going to be trying to get arcs for books and try to read those books in advance so I can do timely reviews for release. So that is again another way that I will be trying to make trying not to buy as many books, because I've spent too much money on books last year, absolutely too much. Like, even if you think like just Broken Binding, I probably spent 300 quid. That's a lot of money. You know, like my wife and I want to move house in a couple of years' time, and we're trying to save and scrimp and save every penny. So yeah, I think trying to eliminate, like I've said before, it's not really about money. It's more about building the perfect collection that I see in my head. However, it is kind of also about money. Like, I spent a lot of money on books and I maybe shouldn't have. But yeah, so I'm also allowing myself to buy special editions from Broken Binding for series that I love. So I've bought the special edition for Grave Empire by Richard Swan, and that one I'm really excited to read. The big thing that I would say with, like I said, I'm allowing myself to buy special editions, but the big thing with buying books this year is I'm also going to be thinking about YouTube income as money that I am allowed to spend. So the YouTube money, so YouTube now, I'm monetized and I earn money from these videos, and the YouTube money, like my first payment of YouTube money, is probably going to be buying, I mean, I've already received that first payment, but I'll be counting that against my Ryan Cahill book purchases. So I will still allow myself to spend money I make from books on books, but that's the rule. So it's a bit of a rubbish book buying ban, honestly. So you guys might be thinking to yourself, like, oh, you're not actually banning yourself from buying books at all. You're still going to buy loads of books. But I think that even just putting a mild limit on and some rules on what I'm purchasing, and I'm going to try and talk in the video reviews now how I got the book. So did I get it from the library? Did I get an ARC? Did I buy it with income from YouTube? All that stuff. And when I say income from YouTube, I got monetized in September and I got my first payment in January. Like, that's how long it took for my account to generate enough income to make a payment. So it's not like I'm out here flushing the YouTube cash. Like, I'll probably be getting money from YouTube like 3 or 4 times a year. Anyway, so this has been a long, weird and rambly video, but so that's where I'm at with the book buying ban. So the rules for the ban are: I'm allowed to buy Broken Binding books. I'm allowed to buy special editions of books that I love. I am allowed to buy, I'm not allowed to buy Kindle books, paperback books, physical books that are not nice special editions. That's against the rules. I'm not allowed to buy any of those. I'm also allowed to buy audiobooks because the library audiobooks are not great. Selection is not great. And the ideal way for me to be consuming books is going to be library first, then, ideally, books I already own, then library, then like ARCs and things like that. So those are the rules. Final rule also, obviously, money I make from books or BookTube can be spent on books. But even then, I really don't want to spend all of that money on that, you know? So, like, I bought a Mac Mini to do YouTube stuff on last year. So, like, a huge chunk of money that I make from BookTube or buying and selling books is going to be paying that off anyway. Right. Anyway, so those are the book buying rules for this year. I hope that all makes sense. I've kind of rambling, but this is also my third video I've recorded in a row. So, yeah, the plan will also be to record all my YouTube videos on Fridays. So the Friday show that will go up that day, then next Monday's review, and the next week's Wednesday video. So that again makes YouTube a lot more sustainable because I can film all of them on my lunch break and then edit them over the week. What else do I want to talk about in terms of channel stuff? Oh, goals for reading. So yeah, my reading goal is 52 books. I want to read 1 book a week. Anything above that is amazing. I'm hoping to get a bit of a buffer by reading some quicker, funner, easier books at the beginning of the year, and then kind of getting more and more difficult as we go. What else? I think that's it. So yeah, 3 videos a week, no buying new books unless they're special editions, and 52 books a year. And last year, one of the big things that I wanted to do was become a better reviewer. I was like, I want to take notes, I want to do all of this, and I did that for one video, and I didn't. I think that it made the video worse, so I instantly stopped doing it. I wanted to read 60 books, and I did not do that. I probably would have, but there were 2 or 3 books that I should have DNF'd that I didn't DNF last year. That took me. It took me 2 or 3 weeks to read 200 pages of the first binding, and I should have just DNF'd that within a couple of chapters. I still have a copy of the first binding, and I would like to try and read it, but c'est la vie, it's just not. I just don't think that one's for me. Maybe when I'm in a better headspace for reading, it'll be a good one to get to. The other thing is I really, really, really want to finish more stuff. Last year, I started 20 new series, but almost all of them I read book 1, maybe I read a couple of books, but I have 6 to go. So Red Rising, Sun Eater, both of those I have So Red Rising I have 4 books left, 5 soon when the last book comes out. Sun Eater I have 3 books left and tons of short stories and novellas. Powder Mage I have 2 books left, not counting the sequel series. Contradictory to that, I did just start the first law, but I'm hoping to just start and finish the first law in Q1 this year. We'll see. But yeah, so the big thing I'm going to be doing is finishing series. So I want to finish more stuff. I would like to do some rereads. I have not done a reread yet for the channel, and I really want to. I have done a reread. I did reread Red Rising, but I was weirdly. I think that my opinion of Red Rising in the past was I don't know. I feel like my opinion was a bit more fully formed this time, because when I read Red Rising previously, it was when I was not really a big reader. So, Anyway, so yeah, finishing more series, reading the books I own. That's a big one. That's one of the other reasons I picked up First Law, because I own this book. Reading the books that I own, building a collection. I would like to get some nice shelves too. There's a space on the wall here that I'm going to try and get some nice shelves put in. And then maybe I'll do a shelf tour when I actually have shelves. That's it. My other resolution for this year and goal is to reply to more comments, because I know I'm bad about that. Let's talk about your reading goals for this year. So if you've got a channel, tell me your channel goals. Tell me what you want to do. If you are just reading for funsies, we're all reading for fun, really. If you're reading for funsies, then let me know what your reading goals are, or whether you hate reading goals and you don't set them. Also, let me know what you think of the changes to the channel, or what you think of my extremely esoteric and complicated book buying ban. And that, by the way, that ban is intended to be the whole year. So that is January to December, the whole of 2025. What I might start doing is talking to you guys at the end of the month in my monthly recaps, telling you how much I've spent on books. That would be fun. So yeah, let's try and remember to do that. I hope that you guys have had a lovely January so far. I hope that you've enjoyed this video. If you have liked it, please give it a like. If you would like to chat with me about anything that we've talked about, or, as I said, drop in the comments and let me know your goals or your reading plans or channel plans for this year. And if you haven't subscribed, join the crew, get on board. I guess click the bell icon. I don't know. Whatever YouTubers are supposed to say. I hope that you have a lovely day, and I will speak to you on Friday. Bye.